It was about 10 p.m. when my husband called me excitedly. "Come here quick! There's a flying saucer over the bay." These words, written by Coral Lorenzen, marked the beginning of a mystery that would captivate UFO enthusiasts for decades. On the night of May 21st, 1952, a strange object appeared in the sky above Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. It was witnessed by multiple people, leaving a lasting impression on those who saw it and sparking intrigue in the burgeoning field of UFO research. Coral Lorenzen was not just a casual observer of the skies. She was a dedicated investigator of unexplained phenomena. Her journey into the world of UFOs began long before the famous Sturgeon Bay incident. She meticulously documented every sighting, every strange occurrence, and every unexplained event she came across. Lorenzen's passion for the unknown was evident in her relentless pursuit of the truth. Before the Sturgeon Bay incident, she had already embarked on a journey into the world of UFOs. Her interest was fueled by the wave of sightings that swept across the United States in the late 1940s and early 1950s. These sightings captured the imagination of the public and sparked a nationwide fascination with the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Lorenzen was at the forefront of this movement, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a belief that there was more to the universe than met the eye. She immersed herself in the study of UFO reports, tirelessly working to separate fact from fiction. Her dedication to uncovering the truth was unwavering. Lorenzen meticulously collected and analyzed accounts from witnesses, seeking patterns and clues that could shed light on the true nature of these enigmatic objects. She interviewed countless individuals, always searching for that one piece of evidence that could provide answers. Her dedication to uncovering the truth would lead her to become a leading figure in UFO research. Coral Lorenzen's work laid the foundation for future generations of UFO enthusiasts and researchers, cementing her legacy as a true pioneer in the field. The object that appeared over Sturgeon Bay was unlike anything witnesses had ever seen before. It was a clear night, and the stars were shining brightly when suddenly an unusual object appeared in the sky. It was described as a large, metallic disk hovering silently in the night sky. The object had a smooth, reflective surface that glinted under the starlight, making it even more mysterious. Its most striking feature was a series of bright lights that pulsed rhythmically. These lights seemed to follow a pattern, almost as if they were communicating in some unknown language. Some witnesses reported seeing smaller lights circling the main object, like planets orbiting a star. These smaller lights moved in perfect harmony, adding to the surreal nature of the sighting. According to Lorenzen's account in her book, the object remained visible for several minutes before abruptly shooting away at an incredible speed. The speed was so fast that it left a trail of light behind. Its sudden departure left witnesses baffled and amazed. They stood in silence, trying to comprehend what they had just seen, their minds racing with questions. The event was reported to local authorities, but no explanation was ever given. Despite numerous investigations, the true nature of the object remains a mystery to this day. In the aftermath of the sighting, many explanations were offered, but none could fully account for what had been observed. One of the more intriguing explanations came from an unexpected source, General Mills Company. At the time, General Mills was experimenting with high-altitude balloons for research purposes. They suggested that the Sturgeon Bay UFO might have been one of their balloons, illuminated by the setting sun. While this explanation seemed plausible at first, many witnesses, including Lorenzen, disputed it. They argued that the object's movements and appearance were inconsistent with those of a balloon. The Sturgeon Bay UFO sighting, like many others from that era, remains a mystery to this day. On a quiet night in 1968, residents of this small town witnessed something they could not explain. Despite efforts to explain the event as a misidentified aircraft or weather phenomenon, the possibility that it was something truly extraordinary continues to intrigue and inspire. Eyewitnesses described a glowing object that moved in ways no known aircraft could. Coral Lorenzen's meticulous documentation of the case ensured that it would not be forgotten, cementing its place in the annals of UFO lore. Her dedication to uncovering the truth has inspired countless others to explore the unknown. The Sturgeon Bay incident serves as a reminder that there are still many unknowns in the vast expanse of the cosmos. It invites us to ponder the possibilities of life beyond our planet and the mysteries that lie beyond our reach. It challenges us to keep an open mind about what might be possible and to never stop seeking answers to the universe's greatest mysteries. As we continue to explore the stars, we must remember that the truth is out there, waiting to be discovered.
Good morning, Milwaukee. Welcome to my Morning Thought, the only show where the headlines meet punchlines and where I barely meet deadlines. With a coffee in one hand and a steering wheel in the other, I'm here to serve you the juiciest slices of news. I'll be your guide today as we laugh through the chaos that is the daily news cycle. Because let's face it, who doesn't need a little humor with their headlines? Welcome to my Morning Thought. Let's get this day started right.
Are you ready to wake up? With my morning thought to some major news, Trump just doubled tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum. As of Wednesday, March 12, 2025, tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum imports will skyrocket from 25% to 50%. Trump's justification? Ontario's 25% surcharge on electricity exported to the US. On Truth Social, Trump labeled Canada a high-tariff nation and tariff abuser, intensifying the trade war. The market reacted sharply. S&P 500 down 1%, Dow plunging over 400 points. Goldman Sachs slashed growth forecasts, and economists warn of a looming recession. Ontario Premier Doug Ford hit back, urging U.S. CEOs to resist and blaming Trump for a potential economic downturn. Stay tuned for more updates on this developing story. Wake up, YouTube. With this economic turmoil, the stakes have never been higher.
Welcome to my morning thought. We're live in this little dinghy of a room for electrical purposes for this episode, and we'll make the best of it. I'm looking at the wrong camera till now. How about that cold open though? That was a big UFO over what town was that? The one named Evan Fish, I don't remember. But hell, what a story, huh? Good cold open. More crazy ass shit coming out of the White House. And there's a lot more to come. Sometimes I wish I could just... But hey, it's a show, what are you gonna do? I guess. So, on with the next clip. You all know what I mean.
The White House made a big announcement on Tuesday, March 11, 2025. This announcement was highly anticipated and came at a crucial time when many Americans were feeling uncertain about their future. They wanted to calm everyone down. The administration knew that the anxiety surrounding Social Security was growing, and they needed to address it head-on. See, people were freaking out about Social Security. The fear of losing benefits that many depend on for their daily needs was palpable. Would they lose their benefits? This question was on everyone's mind, especially the elderly who rely heavily on these programs. The White House said, nope, they were firm in their stance, making it clear that there would be no cuts. They promised that President Trump would never cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. This was a significant reassurance for many. They even used his catchphrase over and over and over again. It was a strategic move to reinforce their message. It was like a big, reassuring hug to the American people. The message was clear: your benefits are safe. Or at least, that's what they wanted you to think. Despite the reassurances, some remained skeptical. So why the sudden need for reassurance? What triggered this announcement? Well, it all started with Elon Musk, the guy who's now in charge of making the government more efficient. His new role has been a topic of much discussion. He went on TV and said some things that rubbed people the wrong way. His comments sparked a wave of concern and uncertainty. Elon Musk, the billionaire tech guru, is known for shaking things up. From revolutionizing electric cars with Tesla to launching rockets with SpaceX, Musk is no stranger to ambitious projects and bold statements. Now, as the head honcho of the Department of Government Efficiency, he's set his sights on a new target entitlement spending. This move has sparked a lot of conversations and debates across the nation. That's right, folks. The big guy's got his eye on those programs we all know and love, or at least rely on. Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. These programs are lifelines for millions of Americans, providing essential support and services. Musk sat down with Larry Kudlow on Fox Business Network and dropped a bombshell. In a candid interview, he outlined his vision for cutting down on what he sees as rampant inefficiencies. He claimed that a whopping $500 to $700 billion could be saved every year by eliminating waste and fraud in entitlement programs. This staggering figure has caught the attention of both supporters and critics alike. He even threw out a scary number: 20 million dead people allegedly listed as alive in the Social Security database. This revelation has raised eyebrows and questions about the accuracy and management of these crucial programs. Now, Musk didn't explicitly say he wanted to slash benefits. Instead, he emphasized the need for greater efficiency and accountability within these programs. But when you start talking about eliminating waste and fraud in programs that millions of Americans depend on, well, people tend to get a little nervous. The potential impact of these changes has many wondering what the future holds for their benefits and security. As you can imagine, Musk's comments didn't exactly go unnoticed. The media, always hungry for a juicy story, pounced on his words like a pack of wolves on a wounded gazelle. Headlines screamed about potential cuts to Social Security and Medicare, painting a bleak picture for seniors and vulnerable Americans. Pundits on cable news debated the merits and drawbacks of Musk's claims, with some praising his focus on efficiency and others accusing him of callously targeting the most vulnerable members of society. The internet, of course, exploded with hot takes, conspiracy theories, and enough outrage to power a small city. Section 4. White House clarifies fraud, not benefits, in our sights. The White House, caught off guard by the firestorm ignited by Musk's comments, scrambled to put out the flames. The administration was quick to respond, aiming to quell the growing concerns among the public and media. They knew that any hint of cutting essential benefits would be politically disastrous. They issued a strongly worded statement, assuring the public that President Trump had absolutely, positively no intention of cutting Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits. The statement emphasized the administration's commitment to protecting these vital programs, which millions of Americans rely on for their well-being. They insisted that Musk's comments had been misconstrued, and that his focus was solely on eliminating fraud, not slashing benefits. The White House clarified that Musk's remarks were taken out of context, and that the administration's priority was to ensure the integrity of these programs. They even trotted out some data from the Social Security Administration's Office of the Inspector General, which found nearly $72 billion in improper payments between 2015 and 2022. This data was presented to highlight the significant amount of waste and fraud that could be addressed. See, they argued, there's plenty of waste and fraud to cut without touching a single dollar of benefits. The administration's message was clear. They were committed to safeguarding the benefits that Americans depend on, while also ensuring that taxpayer money was used efficiently and effectively. Section 5. The numbers game examining improper payments in Social Security. The White House's use of the $72 billion figure for improper Social Security payments requires some context. While it sounds like a massive amount of money, and it is, it's important to consider that this figure represents a period of 8 years. Additionally, Social Security boasts a payment accuracy rate of over 99%, with only 0.3% classified as improper payments. These improper payments can occur for various reasons, including clerical errors, outdated beneficiary information, and fraud. While any amount of improper payment is undesirable, the relatively small percentage suggests that Social Security is generally well managed. Section 6. Critics cry foul. Is fraud a smokescreen for benefit cuts? Despite the White House's reassurances, critics remain skeptical. They argue that the focus on fraud is a convenient smokescreen for future benefit cuts. After all, fraud is a loaded term that can be easily manipulated to justify cuts to essential programs. They point to previous attempts by politicians to cut Social Security and Medicare under the guise of saving the programs. They argue that the Trump administration, despite its current denials, might be laying the groundwork for future cuts by creating a narrative of widespread fraud and abuse. Section 7. Trump holds the line, Social Security and Medicare safe under my watch. For now, President Trump has remained steadfast in his opposition to cutting Social Security and Medicare. He understands that these programs are incredibly popular, particularly among his base of older voters. However, the pressure to reduce the deficit and rein in government spending is intense. Whether Trump will be able to withstand this pressure and keep his promise to protect Social Security and Medicare remains to be seen. The future of these vital programs, and the millions of Americans who rely on them, hangs in the balance.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my morning thought. Today we're diving into the recent surge in protests targeting Tesla and Elon Musk. Alright, so here's the scoop. Over the past few weeks, protests have been cropping up at Tesla locations worldwide. What started small in the US has now spread across the globe, from Canada to Europe. Elon Musk took to X, formerly known as Twitter, claiming that the Democratic Party is behind these protests, funded specifically by ActBlue. He even named groups like Troublemakers, Disruption Project, and Democratic Socialists of America. But here's the kicker. He hasn't provided any concrete evidence for these claims. Musk specifically pointed fingers at Reid Hoffman, one of his former PayPal mafia buddies, who quickly denied any involvement. Hoffman's response: "Just one more of Elon's false claims about me. I never funded anyone for Tesla protests." Ouch. Now let's break this down. While the Democratic Party might sympathize with the protesters, there's no solid proof that they kicked off the Tesla takedown movement. This movement actually began as a grassroots effort on Blue Sky, an X-competitor. It gained traction and is now using Action Network for organizing. Groups like the Disruption Project and the Troublemakers have jumped in to help. One major flaw in Musk's theory: protests aren't just happening in the US, they've spread to Canada and Europe. It seems pretty unlikely that the US Democratic Party is behind those. Musk's also been stirring the pot in Europe, promoting far-right parties. And he retweeted a post linking Cybertruck fires in Seattle to Democrat NGOs. Again, no proof. The fires are still under investigation. So, could the Democratic Party be involved in some protests? Maybe, but without solid evidence, it's all just speculation. Most people protesting are probably just fed up with Musk's antics. From his controversial political ties to his, let's say, colorful statements. In conclusion, while Musk's claims make headlines, the protests seem to be driven more by widespread disapproval of his actions. This story is still unfolding, so stay tuned for more updates. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more updates, and stay curious. My morning thought.
The date is set, April 8, 2025. Michael Tanzi, a name etched in Florida's darkest history, is scheduled to die. He sits in his cell at Florida State Prison, each tick of the clock drawing him closer to his final moments. His crime? The brutal kidnapping, rape, and murder of Janet Acosta, a woman whose life was tragically cut short. This isn't just another case. It's a story of terror that gripped Miami in the spring of 2000. It's a stark reminder of the evil that can lurk in plain sight, and for Janet Acosta's family, it's a long-awaited date with justice. Janet Acosta was a woman with a bright future. At 49, she was a respected layout supervisor at the Miami Herald, living a quiet life. All that changed on a seemingly ordinary day in April 2000. Acosta was reading in her van near Miami's Japanese Gardens. It was a peaceful moment shattered by Michael Tanzi. He approached asking for the time and a cigarette. But this was no innocent request, it was a calculated ruse. In a flash, he punched her, forcing his way into the vehicle. Acosta's nightmare had just begun. He brandished a razor, threatening her life. He bound and gagged her, stealing her sense of safety and her voice. He then forced her to drive to the Florida Keys, her fear mounting with every passing mile. There, in a secluded area of Cudjoe Key, Tanzi committed the unspeakable. He sexually assaulted Acosta, violating her in the most horrific way imaginable. Then he strangled her, ending her life and silencing her forever. 2 days later, the law caught up with Tanzi. Acosta's van, reported missing by worried friends, was spotted. Tanzi's reign of terror was over. Faced with overwhelming evidence, he confessed, not once but multiple times, his words painting a gruesome picture of his crime. A jury found him guilty of first-degree murder, carjacking, kidnapping, and robbery. The sentence? Death. But the legal battle was far from over. Years of appeals followed, each one a painful reminder for Acosta's family. They waited, their grief mingled with the hope that justice would finally be served. In 2025, Governor Ron DeSantis signed Tanzi's death warrant. The clock, ticking since that horrific day in April 2000, is about to run out. Tanzi's execution will be the third in Florida for 2025. It's a grim statistic. The specter of capital punishment continues to loom large over the state. James Dennis Ford already faced the ultimate punishment in February for a 1997 double murder. Edward James awaits his fate on March 20th for a brutal 1993 murder and rape. Across the nation, the debate rages on. 6 executions have been carried out in 4 states this year alone, a chilling reminder of the human cost of these legal battles. For Janet Acosta's loved ones, the debate is a distant echo. Their focus remains on the man who stole their daughter, sister, and friend. On April 8th, they hope to find some semblance of peace, even as they know that true justice can never truly be served. Ratu Thalisa, a transgender Muslim woman, was a popular TikTok star with over 442,000 followers. People liked her videos because she was funny and seemed real. But in October 2024, during a live stream, things changed dramatically. Someone commented on her hair, and Thalisa held up a picture of Jesus. She joked, "You shouldn't look like a woman, you should cut your hair so you look like his father." This comment, made on the internet, would have serious consequences, leading to her arrest and time in jail. Thalisa meant it as a joke, but many people were very upset. 5 Christian groups filed official complaints, saying her words were disrespectful to their religion. This caused a huge controversy in Indonesia, a country where freedom of speech and religious beliefs are sometimes hard to balance. The case became a big news story, sparking debates about what people can say online. Thalisa's situation became an example of how difficult it is to have religious freedom in a country with many different cultures and beliefs. The Indonesian government acted quickly against Ratu Thalisa. She was arrested and charged under the country's Electronic Information and Transactions Law, or EIT law. This law is meant to stop online crime, but many people say it's used to silence people who disagree with the government. Prosecutors said Thalisa's comments on her TikTok livestream broke the EIT law by spreading hate and disrupting peace and religious harmony. The court agreed. On March 11, 2025, Ratu Thalisa was found guilty and sentenced to 2 years and 10 months in prison. She also had to pay a fine of $6,200. This decision shocked many people in Indonesia and around the world. Human rights groups and free speech advocates said the ruling was wrong and that Thalisa's comment, even if insensitive, shouldn't have resulted in such a harsh punishment. The case showed how hard it is for people, especially those from minority groups, to speak freely online. The EIT law, created in 2008 and updated in 2016, has become a problem in Indonesia. It's meant to stop online crime, but the words in the law are vague and it's used too broadly. The law makes it a crime to share information that is considered insulting, hateful, or disruptive, but these terms are not clearly defined. This has made people afraid to speak their minds online. People who don't like the EIT law say it's used to silence people who criticize the government or religious groups. The law is often used in cases of blasphemy, with Muslims frequently being accused. But, as Ratu Thalisa's case shows, religious minorities can also be punished under this law. It's clear that the EIT law makes people scared to speak freely online. Journalists, activists, and regular people are worried that anything they say could get them in trouble. Ratu Thalисsa's case isn't the only one. The EIT law has been used against many people, often social media influencers, for things they've said online. In September 2023, a Muslim woman went to jail for 2 years for blasphemy after posting a TikTok video where she said an Islamic phrase before eating pork. Like Thalissa's case, this showed how sensitive religious expression is in Indonesia and how the government uses the EIT law to punish people. Another TikToker was arrested for blasphemy in 2024 after posting a quiz about animals reading the Quran. These cases, along with Thalissa's, have made people on social media in Indonesia nervous. The message is clear: be careful what you say, especially about religion or politics. This fear goes against a free society where different opinions should be shared and discussed. The Indonesian government needs to listen to human rights groups and change the EIT law so it's not used to silence people. Freedom of speech is a basic human right, and it needs to be protected both online and offline.